Hi, welcome back to Plan V Works. Today we're going to create a watercolor Christmas card because Christmas is coming in so close, and I'm hoping to inspire more of you to create some of these cards for your loved ones and friends. And the materials for this one is so easy to find. They'll be available in your local um, office supply stores. So let's begin here. I will be using the Hero Art Stamp Clear stamp set here, and I love this set because there's so many beautiful designs on the ornaments. And if you have the Hero Arts Infinity die set, um, some of the circles here coordinate perfectly into the shape of these circles, and I'm only pointing that out because you can make actual tree ornaments using these. And they will also serve as nice gifts to your friends and to your loved ones, preferably one you won't have to mail out because you might have to do this in layers of cardstock just to make it a little bit more durable. If you don't have the Infinity die set from Hero Arts, you can try whatever circle die set you already have. Now, if you don't have access to the stamp, you can also draw one of these, and all you need is like a circular pattern, a cup, a tape, a roll of tape, whatever makes a circle that will fit nicely into your card. So we are using a 5.5 by 4.25 card here, card base and horizontal um, format, and the card panel will be 4 by 5.25. Now this is horizontal once again because I wanted my ornament to be a little off center because that's usually how I orient most of my cards, and this time I wanted it to be a little different. Now you will notice that while we're doing this, the surface of our card panel is a little different, and that's because I'll be using a watercolor paper for this, and this is very thick paper. This is 140 pounds, and by doing this, when you use watercolor, which is the medium we're going to use for this card, it won't bleed through. So just make sure if we're stamping, we're going to use our Hero Arts here just to avoid any smudges. Ribbons of your choice depending on the color scheme that you want to use for this project. And again, you can use watercolor or colored pencils or watercolor pencils if you wish. And you can see that this set is a set that I've had from I don't know how many years ago. This is Sakura portable watercolor pans, and I love that you have this option to use the color palettes from the left, from the right, or however makes you feel more comfortable to draw. And it's so handy. You can stash this in your purse and be good to go if you're traveling. You get inspired, you can just sit down and draw from a corner. It's great. And of course, I'm going to use my Dollar Tree glitter glue as well to add more glitter to my project. So let's begin. I'm going to show you a real quick trick here on how to create your drawing. Now, all you need, like I said, is a circular pattern. And as you can see here, I'm using the same circle pattern here to create some of the designs of the ornament in case you don't have the stamps. Just make sure that you are using ink that will not smudge if you use watercolor with it. Here I'm using the Micron pen, and they are great. They do not smudge at all with watercolor, so that's what I'm using here. But ultimately, we are going to use our stamp for this video. But you can see that it's possible. If you do not have the stamps and you can't find them, you can draw these baubles on your own. So next, once you've figured out if you're going to draw or use stamps, we are going to mix our color. Now I wanted to get the right shade of red here that will correspond to the color of my cardstock, and I love how vibrant that red is. And just to go out a little bit out of the traditional colors of red and green, I'm using royal blue here again because I love how it looks together with red. And just making sure that I have the shade that I like. And now you will just see here that I'm using all of these brushes and not the one that came with the set, and that's fine. You can use whatever brush you feel comfortable using. And now I'm just gonna gently splatter that color around. As you can see here, I am not trying to stay within the lines or just trying to make it all look so perfect, because I feel that this kind of style and coloring it just adds a little bit more organic feel to it. And I love that it's non-traditional. Like we're already creating something that is so traditional that is an ornament, but just to create a little something that's different will give your card the right kind of pop. Now I'm putting in some yellows here, and basically in that center I just wanted to have the look of a glow because I'm going to put some glitter glue in there just to add more shine. And that's just about it. That's all the watercoloring that we wanted to do. And that is so fast and easy, it's ridiculous, but it will have a really, really nice effect afterwards. Now I'm just speeding up the process using my heat gun, but be careful doing that because it might splatter the color. Now you can see here that I'm using my stamp for the sentiment, but if you can do calligraphy or have some really nice stickers, you can do that too. Again, if you do not have access to embossing powder or embossing ink or a heat gun or all of that, you can use your paintbrush and do calligraphy. You can print on a separate sheet of paper or on sticker paper and stick it there. And there are many, many ways that you can do this even if you do not have all the tools. And this is one of the things that I encourage my friends to do, and that is to use whatever you have and create. And that's all that matters, is that you're making something. Now, as for me, I am using this stamp because I am rusty with my calligraphy and it's been a while since I've had my hand on it. So I'm just going to use my handy dandy stamp and my heat gun here to create that shiny sentiment that we have. Now I'm doing both sides. I'm putting on a little bit of heat on both sides of the paper here because it's starting to warp. As you know, we are using watercolor here. And once we hit the heat gun on it, it's going to start warping. And now I'm just going to add a little bit of ribbon. Now, we could draw this. There's a portion of the stamp that you can just stamp in for the string, but I wanted to add texture because the watercolor is already very flat, and I wanted to add a little bit more texture, and by adding the real ribbon, it creates that something a little different to the effect of the card, and it's not completely flat, but at the same time you can put that in the mail and use your regular stamp and it's good to go. Now just make sure that the glue is all flat in the back of the ribbon before you stick it down on your paper, because you don't want the glue to splatter in the back of the ribbon, because to a certain extent that ribbon has sort of wire on the edges, but it's still fabric, so it's still going to bleed through a little bit. So make sure you flatten that out and use just enough glue to make it stick. And don't worry, because it will stick. And I've used glue so many times on ribbon, and as long as you don't rub it too hard or the recipient doesn't play with it or rub it too hard, it's gonna stay there. Now I'm just creating here a basic ribbon, one that does not actually use uh, all the knots, and I wish I could have done this a lot slower, but yeah, I'm using this ribbon where there's only one knot and it comes out flat. And you can try this many ways, however you feel it'll be more effective to stick to your card. But the idea is to put that ribbon right there just to have that realistic effect of using an ornament in for that you would put on your tree. And again, I'm just using glue here and flattening it out, just making sure that everything is covered, and just sticking it on my card panel here. And I will not be touching that for a while, just to make sure that the glue adheres really well to the paper. And that's the important bit. You have to give it time to dry. And here we are, and just like that, we are on to our glitter glue. And luckily, I found a bit more color with my glitter glue. I found some silvers and reds, and that's what I'll be using here. Again, I love putting shine to my holiday cards, especially this gold glitter that I've used a lot so much because I love how it always turns out afterwards. And I'm using this red one to design the bottom because my card also has the red watercolor in the bottom here. Now, you might say, oh, the watercolor turned out a little flat. It's not as vibrant, and that's okay because watercolor does have that effect. It turns out a little not as bright maybe, or a little flat, but that's okay because that's also the beauty of watercolor, how it has all of these color dimensions from darker to lighter, and it mixes up with the blue a little bit and it turns out a little purple, and that's exactly the effect that I wanted. Now I'm just putting in more and more glitter glue here and wait for it to dry, and just like that our card panel is ready. Now the next thing to do is just stick this down to our card base, and because my paper is a little bit warped, instead of gluing it down or just using a regular tape runner, I'm using a heavy duty tape runner for this, or double-sided tape, just to make sure that my card panel sticks flat on my card base. And the reason for this is because I'm using a 140-pound card panel paper, which is the watercolor paper, and that might resist the stick from the back a little bit too much if it's just regular adhesive. So just to make sure that it lays flat the way it should, I'm using a heavy duty adhesive on the back instead. Now, once you're satisfied with how flat it is, or you can tell that it's stuck well to your card base, our card is done and ready. And here we are. Look how beautiful that is. And you can just put a white cardstock inside of that, so you can write your message or your note inside, and your card is ready. All the materials are available at your local office supply store. And I hope that you guys try this, because it's definitely going to make someone's day brighter and shine during the holiday season. And if you guys enjoyed and liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe right here at Plan B Works for more affordable crafting, resourceful hacks, and easy techniques. And I hope everyone enjoys the holidays. Have a great day, everybody.